Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Lauren here with another great business to discuss on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Levi, and he's selling his Amazon FBA and e-commerce business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Levi. How are you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you, Lauren. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. And I'm really excited to have you on the show and learn more about your business. But before we dive in, I'm going to go over a brief summary of the business. This is an Amazon FBA and e-commerce business created in June 2017 in the occasions and gifts niche. The average monthly revenue for the business is $28,412, and it makes an average of $13,372 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 57161 to learn more about the business. Or you can unlock this listing to start your due diligence if you're interested in purchasing this asset. The assets included with the business are an Amazon Central Seller account with 64 SKUs, a Shopify account, Walmart and Faire seller accounts, a domain and all site content and files, supplier relationships, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and Twitter social media accounts, and a trademark. Please note that inventory is not normally included in the list price, but further details can be provided to active buyers. So now that we know more about the business, let's hear from the seller himself. Levi, can you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
Yeah, so we've been in the e-commerce business since 2015. We've launched quite a few brands. We've created from scratch. We've exited 2 e-commerce brands, all primarily focused on Amazon. We now have 3 different brands. One of them focuses mostly off Amazon and the other 2 on Amazon. So we have quite a bit of experience on launching a new products and getting them to the point where they're successful and can be exited.
Fantastic. Yeah, sounds like you've got some good experience under your belt there. How did you come up with the idea to start this business in particular?
So this one kind of goes back to a relationship between me and my now wife. It was long distance while I was working overseas and she was going to college. I was in Afghanistan and working as a military contractor. So we would send packages back and forth to one another. And the only way I could send gifts to her was if I would hand make them. So a lot of the things I would make would be made out of wood. And a lot of things she would send would be greeting cards. So we kind of had these ideas built in early on. And when we got into business together, we started looking at what can we do to bring our own interest into that business. So while we were walking around in Vietnam, we seen some cool cards there. And we decided, hey, that might be a cool niche to check out. And once we looked into the niche, we found there's a spot we can fit in. That's when we went to work on how can we differentiate, how can we create something that nobody else has. And we pulled our interest and our own little love story.
Fantastic. Yeah, sounds good. It sounds like you've got a good backstory for the business. You're quite passionate about it. What are the reasons you're selling it now?
It's been a wild year. Over the past year, we've launched another new business that's really taken off and takes up a lot of our professional time. We've also fostered 3 children in that time, and that takes up a lot of our personal time. And we've also had my parents have they're aging and they're having a lot more health problems, and we are very involved in helping in that. So a lot of stuff going on professionally and personally that has led us down this path.
Wonderful. It sounds like you've had a really good learning journey with the business. Is there anything that you learned from the business that you would apply to any future sites or businesses that you may work on?
Yeah, work hard at it. The thing I think I learned the best lesson would be you can't force everything. So if you feel something doesn't fit in the market or people don't want it, you just can't force it to work. So at some point, your pride has to get out of the way and you've got to let the market dictate what's taking place.
Yeah, that's excellent advice, definitely. On the flip side of the coin, is there anything you tried that really didn't work that, if you had to go back a second time around, that you would do differently?
Yeah, it goes to that same point. When you have a lot of different variations, you try different things, and some of your great ideas, they don't work out. Some of them work out great. So the flip side would be try new things. Don't give up because of a setback. Don't give up because one idea didn't work out the way that you had hoped, and persevere. Keep pushing forward.
Yeah, wonderful advice. So, Levi, if you were to keep the business, what are some of the ways that you would grow it further?
Well, that's a great question, and it's easy answer. We're very keyword specific in our niche, and we don't target a lot of big keywords as aggressively as we should have. And that would be my primary focus moving forward, would be to really focus on keywords that we are missing. And some of them are seasonality, some of them are just different categories. So we would put a lot more focus into attacking those keywords. The other thing we would do is we would go international. We would definitely hit the UK and the EU. We have had people take these design ideas and implement them over there successfully. So we know that we have the market ready for it. We just have to go and take back our market share.
Yeah, wonderful. Following on with what you were saying about keywords, what do you currently do in terms of marketing for the business?
So that's our biggest shortcoming probably, is we don't put a big emphasis on PPC or outside marketing. And that's by design. We've launched a lot of Amazon businesses, different brands, and we use a heavy dose of PPC on launches. And we don't do it so much later on. And we really focus heavily on our organic traffic. And we get in these niches that are not so competitive, where we don't have to compete heavily. We can really get away with our high organic traffic. So outside of PPC on Amazon, we don't do any kind of marketing to drive traffic. So there is a lot of room for improvement in that regard.
Yeah, certainly. It sounds like you've got pretty good organic traffic coming to your site then.
We do. When you have the quality listing we have and the high quality product we have, nearly 4,000 reviews of all 5 stars, 90% 5 stars, that kind of keeps you up there and keeps people buying and keeps the returns at an extremely low level.
Yeah, that's definitely a big asset for your business, I'm sure. Levi, can you walk me through your FBA and e-commerce supply chain? Where are your suppliers based, and how does inventory get from the suppliers to Amazon or to the customer in the case of your e-commerce businesses?
Yeah, so with this business, we have an incredible supplier. And, I can say that with confidence because we've worked with a lot. And this is by far the best supplier I've ever worked with. And so whenever we want to put an order out, we just throw it out there to them. We typically have maybe a 75-day lead time total, depending on our shipping method. We let them do the quality control. I've actually visited their factory and met them here in the States a few times. So we have a close relationship, and we put a lot of faith in their quality control because I've seen it in person, and we've worked all the bugs out with them. We've literally created this product from scratch with them. I flew there and built it out. So that's where our confidence comes in that supplier. We do ship it locally to a home office that operates one of my other businesses that we manufacture goods out of. So we store here, and then we ship all our inventory to FBA. Outside of FBA, we don't do much business outside of FBA. So anything we do would be mostly wholesale and a couple individual orders off our site. And that'll just ship directly from our warehouse here.
Wonderful. That certainly sounds like you've got a good streamlined process there. And it's wonderful that you have such a close relationship with the supplier.
Yeah, that's probably the best asset that we have in keeping the quality product that we do have.
Yeah, certainly. So it sounds like you're quite close to the business. As you say, you had a hand in, visiting manufacturers and helping with the production process. Can you walk me through your role in the business in terms of how many hours per week you work on the business and what sort of tasks take up your time?
Personally, I don't work in the business very often, a couple hours a month maybe. I do have a team here, and total they might spend 3 hours a week. And what takes up their time would be sending in an FBA order, packing a wholesale order, sending in an individual order from our website. So we don't spend a ton of time in this business. There's a lot of upfront work. As I mentioned before, I flew to China and worked all this out. We started this all up from the ground. So there's a lot of front-loaded work that was done, but what we do now is pretty limited.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good thing. I mean, it sounds like you've got a well-oiled machine going there, and the new buyer wouldn't need to do much in terms of the daily running of the business.
That's correct. They basically take on mostly my role, which would be put a big order out, talk to the suppliers occasionally, and anytime we need an order shipped to FBA, just ask somebody to create a label, and that's it.
Fantastic. So for a buyer who's not familiar with your particular product or even the FBA business in general, what sort of skills or requirements would you say are needed in order to run this business successfully?
Keeping organized, definitely keeping organized. There's a list of SKUs that you have, so you have to be able to manage that. You have to be able to keep that relationship with the supplier. I think that's very important. Once you build that relationship, there's a lot of trust that goes into that. And that trust goes a long ways in holding your quality to the level that you want.
Yeah, certainly.
Outside of that, knowledge in the supply chain. Knowledge in the supply chain is very important. So have that experience coming in or be prepared to learn it with us.
Yeah, those are all fantastic points. Sort of on the flip side of that coin, what would you say are the biggest risks that buyers should be aware of if they're interested in purchasing this business?
The biggest risk is something we face every kind of big sell season that comes up. And that's when we get people that will steal our specific designs and put them up. So that's the biggest risk. And it's pretty easy. Amazon is very aggressive when you contact them to say, hey, this is copyright, this is trademark infringement. Can we get this off? And, we have copyrights that were filed back in January of this year. So we're looking at getting the copyrights done on all of our top sellers, hopefully here in the next month to 3 months. So we have a lot more protections on the way. So that really mitigates a lot of that risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, Amazon backs you up on that, which is fantastic. As a new buyer transitioning into this business, what sort of support are you willing to offer to help them acclimatize?
So that's something that we actually have a big offer on. We'll always offer our support as needed. But where our real help comes into play is our warehousing solution. And we are willing to offer up to 6 months of warehousing solution, which is really important now as Amazon keeps fumbling through and changing the storage capacity at FBA warehouses. So we used to keep maybe 80% at FBA storage, and now we're doing something more along 20% at FBA. So offering our warehouse solutions would be our biggest offer to a potential buyer. And for 6 months, that's a long time of saving on 3PL costs.
Absolutely.
Hopefully that buys enough time until Amazon changes their rules again and allows more storage.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's very generous of you to offer that. And I'm sure buyers will be very interested in that offer. When it comes time to negotiating the actual sale of the business, would you be open to negotiating something like an earnout?
We would. We have exited a few businesses in the past, FBA businesses, and on each one we have negotiated an earnout. So it's definitely something that we are open to again.
Perfect. And would you be willing to commit to a non-compete agreement?
We can commit to a non-compete. We do have other product lines in the similar niche. However, our team and the Empire Flipper team has discussed this pretty extensively, and we've decided that it was not competing.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds good. So Levi, do you have any advice that you would give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you first started out in the Amazon FBA world?
Yes. The only thing that's constant is change. So embrace it. You're going to have a lot of ups and downs, and you cannot be discouraged by those. You cannot let that success go too far to your head and back away too much. So stay there and ride the waves and embrace the changes that will come.
Yeah, that's wonderful advice, especially with all the changes that are rocking the industry at the moment. Is there anything that drove you and motivated you while you had this business?
I think my wife and I, we started this, and we are entrepreneurs. We've started 7 different businesses together. She started one outside of me, and I started some outside of her. So we are very familiar with what we're doing in that regard. So I think what motivates us is business. It is that startup. It's that product development. It's the challenges that come to your everyday life. And having the luxury of doing this with my wife, it's the challenges of working with somebody so close to you and the joys of that as well.
Yeah, well said. Absolutely. So the last question of the interview, and I think the one that our buyers listen most closely to, is if you had to put yourself into the shoes of a buyer, why do you think your business is a business worth buying?
Easy answer there is the quality of the product we have. the connection that we have with our customer base, it's very evident. When you have as many reviews and as many high quality reviews as we have, the product really speaks for itself. It takes a lot of the risk out of, oh, is this going to collapse? Are we concerned about the long run? And I think the quality of what we do, and it takes so much of that out of it that I would feel safe and I would feel content getting involved in that kind of business.
Yeah, absolutely. All fantastic points. And I think definitely compelling reasons why buyers should be interested in this business. Levi, do you have anything else you'd like to share with our audience that I might have missed?
No, I think we've done a great job. I appreciate your time, Lauren, and thank you for asking such great questions.
Oh, fantastic. It's been a pleasure having you on the show, and I've really loved learning more about your business.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing number 57161. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business. So until next time, enjoy your digital journey.